Hello, all. I wanted to take a moment to talk about AI in education. I know that is what is on a lot of people's minds right now. So I want to take a moment to talk about beyond the hype. So, thinking about AI in terms of equity and ethics. I've been presenting on AI for the last 5 years now, and I've just seen it grow exponentially in the last few years. So it's just been an honor to be able to have these critical conversations with leaders from around the world and to also take a critical lens and a critical examination on how AI is being implemented in K-12 education, primarily focusing on equity and ethics. So I want to highlight something that I heard from Ken Shelton, one of the leading AI experts, and that is the conversation around AI in education must go far beyond efficiency and automation. We have to ask who designs the AI, who benefits, who is harmed. AI should not replicate or reinforce the biases already present in our educational systems. It must be critically interrogated, co-designed with communities, and used to empower students, not surveil or marginalize them. And I just absolutely love everything about this quote because as of what we're seeing is an onslaught of AI and ed tech companies jumping on the latest and greatest and shiniest tools that they want to sell and capitalize on. And I think in this gold rush of AI, we are not being critical, or we're not being as critical as we need to be about interrogating them and asking who is behind the design, especially when a lot of non-educators are involved in this conversation as well. So in terms of some of what I'm seeing at a lot of the AI conferences and summits, I recently heard an amazing keynote by a very brilliant AI entrepreneur, and I feel that in the showcasing of AI tools, again, it focused on efficiency and automation, and there were some things like learn how to mass grade 30 papers. Okay, I understand. Look, I'm the first person to admit I love me some efficiency. However, I think that in the race for efficiency and automation, I want to ask, are we automating mediocrity? So going back to those 30 papers of mass grading, were those 30 papers chat GPT generated? And then now we're using a tool to mass grade these 30 papers. So we're not really looking at the root cause of, are we teaching critical thinking and writing prose? So that's what I want to ask is how do we go to the root cause of instructional practices instead of just jumping to how do I grade 30 papers? So there's a lot of like, look at this heat map of chronic absenteeism. Again, beautiful efficiency. Ooh, ah. However, what about thinking about the root cause of chronic absenteeism? So it's great to have these AI tools as long as they are used to address the root cause and address the disease versus the symptom. Now, one thing I also want to add is in terms of creating a custom GPT, it is not that difficult. Probably in another video, I'll share how you can create your own custom GPT, but I'm seeing a lot of entrepreneurs are creating and selling their own. Oh, I can make a GPT for your social media, for education, legal, and this, and like they have all their different sectioned out GPTs. That's great. However, please don't fall for it because it's not that difficult to make that. And again, it can turn into a money grab. So as long as there are these custom GPTs that are out there, that's great. But just be careful. And the more that we can collectively learn about AI, the less it becomes, like I said, a money grab for non-educators. So here's what I want to caution about the missing conversations that we're having. For example, there is an AI tool that helps you lesson plan. Okay, great. But are we still going back to the root cause of structured lesson planning? Are we having conversations on culturally responsive teaching, addressing justice-centered pedagogy, addressing liberation, addressing students with disabilities, looking at English learner instruction? Those are the specifics that I think that we should have. And that's why I encourage when people are building out their custom GPTs or their tools to aid in AI, using AI to lesson plan, they should build in those prompts in the prompt generator so that it's directing us to have these conversations. Otherwise, we're just going to be, again, replicating mediocrity. Then looking at algorithmic bias. So how do we identify, measure, and mitigate these biases in AI systems that could harm vulnerable students or reinforce existing inequities? Also looking at the environmental impact. Where are these data centers being built? I really doubt that they're building a data center in Danville, California. So thinking about where they are building these data centers and what are the environmental costs. And again, not like, oh, we can't do AI because it's hurting the environment. What I'm saying is we should at least be cognizant of what's happening so that we can come up with these solutions at the same time that AI is racing to the future. And then how do these costs intersect with environmental justice concerns? And then finally, how might AI amplify existing systemic inequities, especially for Black, Brown, multilingual students? What can we do in the generation of AI tools to support every single student group? So now let's talk about how we can innovate and making sure that we are innovating with interrogation. So we don't just want to replicate. So one of the things that we talk about at STEM4Real is ensuring that when we have true innovation, it requires that critical interrogation. So asking ourselves, who benefits from this technology? Who is subject to increased surveillance? Whose experiences and needs are being erased. So I bring this up because this is our model for instructional lesson planning and design. And you can tell when we create our phenomenon that launches the lesson, you can tell right there, we start with community and society. How are we connecting society and community and bringing that cultural capital into the classroom? Then we have our 5Es: engage, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate. Many curriculum companies already use the 5Es. So now this is our opportunity to leverage AI to connect to local issues, specifically to your classroom, to your school, and to your district. Having more of a local context will support a lot of it. See, even my dogs are excited about it. So now we're going to think about the social justice standards. So learningforjustice.org has a wonderful set of social justice standards, and this allows you to think about community, and it allows you to think about advocacy and to bring that in. And then, of course, finally, was this a joyful experience? If you're not having fun, your students aren't having fun. So as you're using AI tools to support your learning, we encourage you to think about all of these other issues like ensuring societal connections and ensuring community connections, and then looking at connections to social justice. So now let's think about AI with communities and not AI to the communities. So AI shouldn't be something done to communities. It should be co-designed with them, learning their values, needs, and perspectives. So what does this look like? We want to break the cycle of implementing new technologies without examining their full impact on everyone involved, especially thinking about marginalized students. So let me go back to an AI tool that I saw that is focused, again, on lesson planning and design. Again, we've got this great, handy lesson planner, but it's not encouraging us to think about implicit biases, social injustice, the local context and local community. And so that is where we just have to ask ourselves, what can we do in the design of the technology so that we're designing with the communities and not just, hey, I have this great lesson plan for your students, go. Same thing with efficiency. The true measure of AI's value in education isn't how efficiently it can complete tasks. We don't want to just be efficient. We also want to be effective in promoting equitable and just learning environments. So, what does that look like? It means, okay, great, you figured out a way to mass grade your papers. However, what's happening with our students? Are they getting critical feedback? Are they learning in that process? Are they using their brains in the process of writing and structured learning and critical thinking? Those are the questions that we want to ask. Yay, you may have efficiently graded 30 papers, but what learning happened? So this is what I'm encouraging all of us to think about as we guide our approach to AI in education. And then, of course, just making sure that we're thinking about our educational values. So now let's think about effective AI integration and what we want to see. The first thing that we really want to look at is leveraging cultural capital. When I was at the AXA Summit, AI Summit, I saw some fantastic teachers that were leveraging AI. However, I want to say, I don't think it was the AI that made them great teachers. I think it was their effective instructional practices that made them effective teachers, and they used AI to support that. So there are two things that I'm talking about. Teacher one, they get an AI generated lesson plan, they teach it, they're done. These teachers, they got to know the students and their families. They saw that the students loved Sydney Sweeney and Taylor Swift. Great. Not Sydney Sweeney, Sabrina Carpenter. I am mixing everything up. Look, I'm just trying to stay hip in this world. So thinking about the teachers, they incorporated their students' cultural knowledge, their pop culture, and brought those experiences into the learning and then used AI to say, hey, these are the experiences of my students. How do we bring that in? Next, project-based learning. They used AI to augment the meaningful projects that the students could do instead of just going through the rote curriculum that is mass produced. And then finally, in terms of the technological implementation, they first got to know the students and the families and the communities. And then they brought in AI to support that. So you could see that you still have to do the hard work, and I don't call it hard, I mean fun work, really, in my opinion, of getting to know the students and their families and the overarching community, and then allowing for AI to support that. And we talk about this a lot in our book, STEM4All. And one of the things that we first start with in our framework from connect, create, and cultivate is to connect. So you're connecting with relevant content, you're connecting with belonging in classrooms, and then, of course, implementing AI ethically. However, you can't do all of this unless you connect deeply with the students and the families and the communities that they represent. So what we're talking about is having a connection first approach that ensures that AI and other tech is addressing the needs of the actual needs of the community versus just woohoo, innovation, efficiency. I had one person come up to me and say, Leena, I want to be the innovative district. Okay, that's great. However, you can still be innovative. You just have to get to know the students and the community. So I just wanted to share a few upcoming opportunities. We have our STEM4All Leadership Symposium, and that's going to be November 14th and 15th in San Diego. If you are interested in becoming a STEM keynote facilitator, let me know. We have a VIP event the evening of November 13th, and you can, send me all the details. We might have some scholarships available too, so just reach out. You can check out www.stem4real.org/symposium. And at this event, we're going to be focusing on AI and ethical implementation of AI. Another partnership that we currently have is with Richmond Public Schools, and we've been working with them throughout the summer and now starting a lesson study cycle. And this is in partnership with NSF, Virginia Commonwealth University, and Richmond Public Schools. And one of the things that we're really studying and researching is the effective and ethical implementation of AI and EdTech tools that supports science discourse. So argumentation, constructing explanations, and again, that phenomenon-based instruction. We added a community tour, just like we do with all of our partnerships. And I bring this up because we can do this for you and your school and district. So if you're interested, let me know. You can book a call at stem4real.org/partner. And I really just want to emphasize our call to action. And that is, we want to learn the tools. However, we want to question the impacts. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I used Gamma.app to create this presentation. It was really fun, really exciting. However, I didn't like all the AI generated photos. I had to go through and replace the AI generated photos with authentic photos of our team and our teachers and our educators like doing this work. And the reason why I bring this up is because I had to question the impact of the presentation. Do I want just blanket AI images? Or do I want to capture the essence of our connection to our teachers and our educators in our community? So it's little tools and tricks like that as we're thinking about AI. How can we make it so that we still are holding on to the humanistic approaches of education? So, as AI increasingly shapes education, we have both an opportunity and a responsibility to ensure it serves equity, justice, and community empowerment. So, let me know if you're interested in anything that has to do with professional learning, our symposium, or just have any questions on AI implementation. Let us know, and we would love to support you. Book a free call. Let's chit chat. And one thing I'll end with is that, in our schools, equity is not an app, it's a practice. So I really want us to get into that mindset of we're still valuing the diversity, we're still valuing equity and inclusion in STEM, and I hope that you are too. Thank you so much for your time. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the internet.